A guy named Dave was having dinner with his family, and it was a perfect evening. To give you a little context, his parents' room and his room were in the hall way facing opposite to each other, and in the middle was the bathroom. If anyone turned on the lights in the bathroom, the light went under his door. After they went to bed, Dave could feel that something was off. He was having a weird feeling, but he went to sleep anyway. Then he woke up in the middle of the night after he heard a knock on his window. It was creepy, but he ignored, as he was hearing these knocks for quite some time now. As he turned back and was about to sleep, he saw that the bathroom lights were on, and he could hear loud thumps in the hallway. Expecting one of his parents, he opened the door quickly and saw that there was no one, and his parents were still asleep. He went to the bathroom to turn off the lights when he found the water tap was on. Now he was even more creeped out as to who did this if his parents were still asleep. When he returned to his room after turning off the lights in the bathroom, he had a feeling that someone or something was already inside his room. He was scared, but still, he went to sleep. After a while, he woke up and was shocked to his core when he clearly heard someone breathing inside his closet. He couldn't think straight and just froze out of fear, but he couldn't just stay there while someone was there in his closet. He was beginning to think that the turning on the lights was just a mere distraction to enter his room. He then thought of reaching his flashlight on the table near the bed and confront whoever it was. As he was gathering the courage laying there on the bed, he noticed that the breathing was getting louder and louder. He finally took the flashlight and jumped out of his bed to confront. As he was getting closer, he could hear the breathing more clearly. He still moved forward. He took a second before opening the closet door. Then he quickly opened the door and yelled, "Who is it?" But to his shock, there was no one there. He paused and stood there confused, thinking about what just happened. Then he noticed that the sound was now coming from behind him. He could literally feel the breathing on his neck. He couldn't believe it. He was very afraid. He tried to make a run and get the door, but something pushed him and he fell on the floor. Then something pulled his leg and put him back on the bed. Then he finally saw tall, dark figures with abnormally long hands and inhumane head, and it was staring at him with nothingness in its eyes. Dave couldn't move anymore, as if he was paralyzed. He tried everything, but nothing worked. Having no other option, he closed his eyes and hoped that the figure or entity would disappear. When he opened his eyes after some time, the figure was gone, and suddenly, he could now move. Dave somehow slept and survived the night. When he told his parents in the morning, they couldn't believe him. But the way he was panicking while telling it to them, and the way he was out of breath, they couldn't deny it. The next few days was hard for Dave. He was traumatized and couldn't sleep in the nights. The memory of that figure kept him up all night long. All he could think that was who or what exactly was that. But as days passed, he would turn back to normal, gradually. Just when he thought that everything is now okay and back to normal, he was told by his parents that they had to leave urgently the coming weekend because of some unavoidable circumstances. His heart dropped. He was literally sweating. The thought of spending the night alone terrified him. As the weekend came closer, he had an idea of calling one of his friends for staying for the night, and that brought him a sense of relief. And soon enough, the day came and his parents left. Now it was just Dave and his friend. They soon began enjoying themselves. They were watching a movie and having fun. They lost track of time. It was midnight now as they realized it. They were getting ready for bed. And suddenly, the closet door opened. Dave and his friend suddenly stopped and started looking at the closet, which was now open. The closet was dark inside. They couldn't see anything inside of it. But as they focused, they could see a set of eyes staring back at them. They couldn't believe what they were seeing and they froze. It was like Dave was living his worst nightmare. But things were about to get much worse. They could now see something coming out of the closet. When it came out, Dave immediately realized that it was the same figure he saw some days earlier. He started shouting, "It's the same thing! It's the same thing which I saw earlier!" Dave's friend was trying to make sense of it, but he couldn't. As this was happening, the figure was suddenly on all fours and started crawling directly towards them. Dave's survival instincts kicked in, and he ran out of the room, dragging his friend with him. They quickly came out of the room and shut the door down. It then started banging on the door violently. Dave and his friends were completely panicking. After a few seconds, the banging abruptly stopped, and the lights went out. They didn't know what to make of it. After a few seconds, they decided to open the door. Dave slowly started opening the door and was trying to get a glance of every corner of the room, but he couldn't see anything as it was completely dark. Then, out of nowhere, the figure, which was now on all fours, started charging towards them. They both started running, but it caught Dave's friend and threw him across the hall. He was badly hurt, but still he somehow managed to run. They directly ran towards the basement to fix the fuse, and after a while, the lights were back on. They slowly and cautiously came out of the basement trying to find the figure, but it was nowhere to be found. After the figure was not found, they were trying to process what just happened. After a while, they calmed down. Then, all of a sudden, Dave's friend asked him that when did all this start? Dave told him it all started when they moved into this house. The next day, when they did some research, they came to know that the people who lived before performed some weird rituals in the house, especially in the night. When Dave's parents came to know this, they immediately moved from the house. But to this day, Dave and his friend get chills down their spine when they think about that night.